And we're live. Welcome back for another Deadline stream. How are we all today? I hope you're all very well. Thank you for being here. How's the teams looking for Gameweek 7? Last Gameweek for a couple of weeks, annoyingly. Another international break. I can't stand these international breaks. Like, I don't know what to do with myself when there's no football. Next weekend, luckily, I will know what to do. I'm going on a holiday. I'm going on a well-timed international break holiday with my girlfriend. So, at least I've got that to look forward to. But, yeah, I mean, other than that, hope you're all well. Welcome to the stream, Jan, Mihalo, Asim, TPS Player, Jord, Luke, MK7, S-Bam Virtual, Sozlan, FPL Worm, Rakan, FPL Chai, Razan. Good to see lots of members here. Nat the One, how are we? Welcome to the stream. My mate asked for a shout out. I play pro clubs with him, so quick shout out to Stonehouse as well. Best cam the game's ever seen. Seriously considering Foden, says disgusting. Disgusting, sorry. I'm actually considering him as well. I think today it's a big part of it's going to be the leaks. For better or worse, I think the leaks are going to dictate a lot of moves. Does Diaz start, or is Diaz going to be benched? Does Lewis start, or is Lewis going to be benched? Does Foden start, or will Foden be benched? So I think those are the three players that I think could affect a lot of people's transfer plans. I mean, let us know in chat, what's your current transfer plans? Let's say everyone starts. Diaz starts, Lewis starts. What's your plan in that scenario? Are you rolling? Or are you looking at someone like Foden, if Diaz is benched, for example? So, yeah, hopefully we get some news nearer the deadline. Whatever we get, in the bottom left corner, I'll update it there. So, yeah, let's see what happens during the course of the stream. Appreciate all you being here early, the early gang. A lot of people rolling. Monkey Man says, what's more surprising, Focal on holiday or he's got a girlfriend? Yeah, I know, it's crazy, isn't it? I really do have a girlfriend. Mental. She's very tolerant of my FPL as well. Like sometimes, if she asks to do something, I'll say, "Oh, I'm working today." When I say working, I'm just watching the football. Watching the football is technically working, right? If you make FPL videos for a living, that classifies as work, surely. Watching football, or is that just the lazy out of doing something? Like especially if there's like loads of games at 3 p.m. I want to be able to follow all the scores rather than not being able to see what's going on. I don't know. Daniel says, "Hi Oscar, best Rico Lewis and Eve. Is that Eze replacements?" I don't think I'd sell Rico Lewis unless you're really counting on him this week and there's a leak he also is benched. Then I'd only consider selling him. But there's not many options this week for that price and under. There's Pinnock. He's home to Wolves. You don't really want to play him away at Man United, but then he's got Ipswich in Gameweek 9. Bournemouth home in Gameweek 11. But yeah, there's not many options around that price point. Unless you can find the extra money for someone like Porro, then I think he's a sound pick. Merciso says Brennan Johnson or James Maddison. So I've been looking at both of them, and if I get either, it's going to be Johnson because he frees up money to do something like Mikalenko to Pedro Porro, if I need to do that. I think they're both good though. If you don't need that money, I'd say Maddison because his underlying numbers are better. He generally gets more minutes. He's got more routes to points, I suppose, because he's on free kicks and corners. So it depends if you could use that money for something strong in your team. I prefer Maddison, but Johnson's, I think, just not far below it in terms of how good he is as an FPL asset. Captain Saka or Haaland? I mean, that's the big one this week. I mean, where are you all at the moment? Saka, Haaland, or is anyone going Palmer or Salah? We'll get a captain poll going. Who's... My keyboard's not working. What the hell? That's not good. Can you hear me spamming it? It's not working. Alright. Who's your captain for Game Week 7? So we'll have Saka, we'll have Haaland. I suppose the third would be Palmer, but I think Salah's like a sound pick as well. So if you go other, message in chat. How are we doing, Tim? Captain poll is up. Get your votes in. Captain Watkins, easy home fixture. The Man United disrespect. Do you reckon Ten Hag gets sacked if they lose this one? The lad I mentioned earlier, Stonehouse, the one I played pro clubs with, he reckons Villa win it 4-0. I reckon it'll be a bit closer than that. Especially if they've got Bailey and Ramsey potentially out. Maybe we'll see Watkins and Duran up top for the first time together. And Rodgers in behind. Going to be an interesting game, that one. Samrat says, and Ten Hag probably keeps his job for another week. Even if he loses, Sam. Ariel says Ten Hag sacked if they lose. Omar's on Kai captain. That's the sort of one, like, it wouldn't surprise me at all if it comes off. Like, he just feels like the sort of player that has like a 1 goal, 1 assist type game in him. He did it so many times last season. And it's Southampton home. I think he's a sound pick. If I was ranking them, I'd say Haaland, Saka, Palmer, Salah, Havertz. Maybe in that order. Sam says they won't sack him. Who's getting sacked first this season then? Russell Martin? Trossard captain from Alex. Yeah, I was talking to someone about alternative Arsenal attacker picks, and I would say Saka, then Havertz, and then you've got Trossard and Martinelli to pick between. And that's quite close. I think this week I'd lean towards Trossard, because Martinelli played 90 in the Champions League against PSG. And it just seems like the perfect game to give Sterling his first start. But maybe it won't happen. Maybe it won't happen. Because Arteta just loves Martinelli and what he brings to the team. Although he's not looked up to his best in terms of a couple of years ago. He brings so much to the team in terms of his work rate. His tracking back, which, you know, the likes of Sterling and Trossard and left wing don't give you. So maybe he'll start anyway. But I think if I had to pick one this week, it'd be Trossard. Ackles says... use my only free transfer for Mitoma to Johnson / McNeil wildcard in Game Week 12. Yeah, it's really close between them, you know. I would say Johnson just about. If I had to pick between the two, I'd say Johnson. I mean, Spurs are top this season for expected goals. Everton nowhere near that, so I think you back the player playing for a better team, even though he's like an extra, what, 1 mil now? He went up last night. I think there were a few price changes, weren't there? Martinelli went up. Zoom in a bit. Rodgers went up. Jimenez went up. Greaves went up. Haaland 15.4. Johnson went up. Van de Ven went up. Loads of price drops. Is anyone notable there? De Bruyne went down. Minte went down. That's about it. Jota went down. I think Jota starts today. I'm expecting him to start because Darwin started ahead of him in the Champions League and didn't have the best game. Jota came on as an impact sub, so I don't know. I think Jota probably starts today. It's just Diaz. Do you guys think Diaz starts or Gakpo? Let us know. Who starts in left wing today? Obviously, loads of us have got Diaz. He's in 36.7% of teams. So, what's that like? Almost 4 million teams? So, yeah, a lot of us, I think, are going to be following that closely. And hopefully we get something near the deadline. I've asked a few Liverpool sources, so hopefully we know something near the deadline. Or hopefully someone else just tweets it publicly. Justin reckons he starts. Discreet reckons Gakpo starts. FPL Prince says, how we doing? He says Diaz starts, 71st minute sub in Europe. Yeah, there is that as well. Slot said something interesting in his press conference yesterday about... I think they play on Sunday after the break, and he said that's good news for the South American players. So perhaps he means he intends to start Diaz after the break. Does he start him today, though? Maybe he's told them, Gakpo, you today, Diaz after the break. Let me just catch up on a couple of super chats there. Elias says, I'm thinking Man United fixtures from Gameweek 8 are great. On the wildcard, I'm thinking about tripling Man United. And Nana De Ligt for sure. And then maybe Højlund or Garnacho. For me, I'd want to see a lot more from Man United before I go there. Let alone triple up. I don't know if I'd have... I wouldn't have double Man United defence at all. Not for me. I mean, I can understand getting one at a push, but I wouldn't go double Man United defence. I do understand their fixtures term, but like, is Højlund going to be nailed, or is he going to rotate with Xerxes? I know Xerxes not been good either, but I don't know. I think there's better options. How much is Højlund, guys? How much is Højlund? I feel like there's so many better options. I think I'd rather have Calvert-Lewin. I'd rather have Wood. I mean, if he's around the same price as Solanke, he's 7 mil, 6.9. If it was me, it's a no-brainer. I'd find the extra money for Solanke. Easily. I'm guessing you're a Man United fan, because I don't know. I wouldn't be going anywhere near Man United in current form. If any... You guys are not going to like this answer, but if there's anyone I would consider, I think it would be Bruno. But I wouldn't go there either. He's the only one I think I'd consider. I don't know. I think that needs a shake-up. I wouldn't go triple Man United. I'll put it that way. Ariel says Diaz and Trent for Palmer and Van de Ven if Diaz is benched. Yeah, I mean, I've got a few different transfer paths written down depending on what news we get. And there is one where I buy Palmer. I can't afford Van de Ven, so for me it's Van den Berg. He's a troll. I don't think he's trolling. I'm turning it to Andy. No, hang on. Hear me out. I said if there's anyone, I'd get Bruno, but I'm not going there. But he's the only pick I think you could say maybe, right? But I wouldn't go there. Not for me. There's other players I'd rather get. But I think he's the only one you can maybe make a case for, just because of all the different routes to points. You're not hearing you out on this one, Oscar. All right, fine. I wasn't expecting that one to get a warm reception. Don't get me wrong, I won't have Bruno on my team. Maybe I will if he gets like a hat-trick this game week, which would be typical, wouldn't it? After people selling the red card overturned. It's a bit harsh on those that have Bruno, because the -2 was already locked in by them. Do you think the game should change where they can retrospectively change points, or do you think it just has to be locked in after a certain point? I think the reason they have it locking in is because, let's say, I don't know, something happens in Gameweek 38, and then a week later, I don't know, a red card gets overturned. It's just going to be so messy, like then someone else comes and potentially wins the game. Maybe that's how it should be. Maybe that's fair, even if it takes a week. I don't know. I can see both sides. I think the other reason as well is sometimes you'll have a game week finish on a Sunday, and then the next game week starts on Tuesday. Like, that does happen during the season, right? So then what happens if the next game week started and then you've got the previous game week still technically open? So I think that's why it's that way. But, I mean, it depends if you've been affected by it. Like, who had Solly March in that double game week? I had him captain, and he scored, and they didn't give it as his goal. It went down as an own goal. I don't think he even got the assist, and I had him captain. And then they went back and changed it. And, sorry, it was a March goal. We reviewed the footage, but it was already locked in, and I had him captain. Anyway, getting PTSD talking about March. Ariel says, I did that one. Disgusting says, roll Eze for who, or Eze and Trent for Lewis and Foden. Eze and Trent for Lewis and Foden. I think Eze's okay. If you want to sell him, I'd probably look at Johnson. I don't think I'd sell him for Lewis and Foden. I can understand the temptation if there's a leak, Lewis and Foden start. It depends on the rest of your defence. I quite like Lewis and Foden. If there's a leak, they both start. And sorry, I thought you said Diaz. I think it's a good pair of moves. If there's a leak, they both start. But it depends on the rest of your defence, because Lewis isn't nailed. He's absolutely not nailed. Obviously, lots of us have got him, and you've got to just hope he starts every week. But after this game week, we're not going to get early team news. So after that, I think it's game week 10 or 11, or both. Yeah, game week 10 and 11, there's a chance we get some news there. So 8 and 9, you're on your own, and you just have to have a good defence to cover in case he doesn't play. Yeah, if there's a leak, they both start. I quite like that as a high upside pair of moves, but I don't feel that comfortable about selling Trent, but I will do it if there's leaks that push me to do it. Edzo, thanks for the 7 months. He says, Morning Oscar, start McNeil or Evan Nilsson? I think Evan Nilsson just about gets that. He's got the far better fixture. And obviously, Everton have got a few players out now. There's no Braithwaite, there's no Mikalenko. In case you guys didn't see that, Mikalenko's out for 2 to 3 weeks. He's not going to be in the squad this game week. So, something to keep in mind if you were counting on him. And that's why I might end up making a defensive transfer, like, if Lewis doesn't start. Because otherwise, I'll have Greaves coming off the bench away at West Ham. I don't feel good about that. Aaron Cook says, I was 20th in my mini-league. Now I'm 4th after Cole Palmer captaincy. Bloody 50 points. He says, it's crazy how far I went up after one good game week. Don't give up, guys. Appreciate that one, Aaron. We need that kind of reassurance around here. It's true, though. Like, one good game week can change it all. And if you guys watch my team selection videos, I've added the segment where I include like your biggest and your lowest scores. So you can look at your disaster classes or your master classes, and some of them are like that. They just get one game week where everything goes right, and they go from... There was a guy who went from like 3 mil to 100k in one game week. Tony said Diaz rested. Let me check and confirm that first. I don't think he would have said that this early, would he? No, he's not tweeted anything, so... Nah. Nothing yet. Anything reliable, I'll put in the bottom left corner. Flame says, Morning Oscar, I'm in the disaster class every week, it feels like. Hey, this is your week, Flames. Gonna go into the international break on a big green arrow. Hi Oscar, love from India. Shout out to all my Indian subscribers. I've actually got a big following in India. I was looking at the analytics the other day. I think my biggest following is UK, and then I think it's USA. And then it's like Ireland, Egypt, India, something like that. Jim says, Trent to Davies and Diaz to Foden. I don't think I'd do that. I'm guessing you mean Davis from Ipswich. I don't think I'd do that. Like, for me, the only circumstance where I might sell Trent is for Pedro Porro. I'm just not sure about Davis. I think he's okay. Like, he's got good underlying numbers, but it feels like you could just go Diaz to someone else, and then you still keep Trent for Palace, if you see what I mean. Like, you could go Diaz to... I think the top three replacements are Maddison, Johnson, and Gordon. You could just go to one of those. They're all less than 8 mil. Like, Gordon's going to be on penalties because Isak's out. Everton have got Bramthway out, Mikalenko out, so we saw how they struggled with these players out early in the season. So I think Gordon's a good shout. I get the temptation with Foden though, but I don't know if I'd sell Trent as part of it. Because you could have Trent and someone like Johnson or Maddison. Trent and Johnson / Maddison. Or Davies and Foden. I think that's pretty close, whether that's an upgrade to go to Davies and Foden. X ×2 Cosmic says, if Foden is leaked to start, would you take a hit to get him? It really depends on like other players. So like if Diaz is benched, then I'll buy Foden. But I'd need both of those to happen in combination. I've actually got... You guys are going to laugh at how pathetic this is, but basically what I hate happening is I come into streams unprepared, and then some news drops, and I have to figure out what to do with, you know, 1,800 watching. So I've got a document with all the different combinations and what I'm going to do in that circumstance. So if Diaz is benched, Foden and Lewis start, then I'll go Trent to Porro and Diaz to Foden. And then there's other combinations like, I don't know, if Diaz is benched, Foden's benched, Lewis starts. Then if that happens, so Diaz and Foden both don't start, and Lewis does, then I'll go Diaz to Palmer and Trent to Van den Berg. So there's a few different routes I could go during the stream. And I've just wrote it down to save myself the stress of trying to figure it out while we're live. Watching you from Australia, Oscar. Shout out to all my Aussie subscribers as well. Where's everyone tuned in from today? Whereabouts in the world? Tag me in a photo on Twitter of your stream setup and I'll retweet it as well. Shout out to Iceland. I've been to Iceland before. I've got some Icelandic friends. Absolutely stunning country. Price rises, drops. These are the ones that went up and down last night. From FPL.page. Or if you search FPL Focal in the App Store, you can get the free app. It's in the description as well. Watching from living room, Melbourne, Australia, Poland, Finland, Algeria, Croatia, Cape Town, my brew, Romania, Nepal, New Zealand, sunny Bournemouth, Zambia. Anyone watching from Egypt? That's where me and my girlfriend are looking to go on this international break holiday. Mahmoud from Egypt, there we go. Yeah, I'm going to Egypt. I'm actually going on Sunday, so I'm going to miss the Sunday games, unfortunately. Yeah, I can't wait. We're going to Sharm el Sheikh. Looks stunning there. I didn't realize it was going to be so hot though. Like, it's pretty cold in England right now, but over in Sharm el Sheikh it's 33 degrees. Have you been to Botswana? I have, yeah. Probably about 6-7 years ago. Went on a safari there. Also stunning. We went to a few places, like we went to the Okavango Delta as well. That was surreal. Literally in the middle of nowhere, in the heart of Africa. Obviously there's no like cell towers, nothing like that. So we had no internet for a week. I was starting to go a bit mad, like, because you don't know what's going on in the world. Could have been World War III and we would have had no idea. And we were on this tiny little island, and you're like, you can hear the hippos around you, so you can't go out at night. You have to just stay in your tent. Crazy. Is Mikalenko injured? Yeah, he's picked up an injury. Just as he was coming back, he's got another injury, and apparently he's out 2 to 3 weeks. So, yeah, that's not ideal. He's not been flagged on FPL, but I've been told from a reliable source he's out for this game week. So, I asked just now, and that's what they told me. So, yeah, not ideal. So, my bench is a bit light in terms of defenders, so that's why I have to be careful with Lewis news. Brev says, Focal, do you remember Rory Delap's throw-ins? Of course I can. Of course I do. They were iconic, those throw-ins. Absolute iconic. Absolute carnage, those long throws. Foden worth a punt? Yeah, he's absolutely worth a punt. If there's a leak, he starts. I'm not going to risk it if there's not news that he starts, though. But yeah, I think he's a massive opportunity. Like, look at the fixtures. Fulham, Wolves, Southampton, Bournemouth, Brighton. And he seems to be back into the swing now. He got his start in the Champions League. He got man of the match, I think. He scored. Came off early, so I do think he starts today. But I don't want to risk it, really, unless there's confirmation. Oscar, you're a City fan. I'm not. I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm doing well, Will. Just saying earlier, though, I'm dreading the international break in terms of no FPL. Hate the international breaks. Last stream for a while. Gusto or Lewis? I'd say Lewis. If you're looking to bring him in, just wait till nearer the deadline so we can get confirmation whether he starts or not. Don't know if I'd buy Gusto, if that's what you're saying. Like, it's a nice fixture this week, but then do you really want to start him in any games after this week? Oh yeah, captain poll. 73% Haaland, 14% Saka, 7% Palmer, 6% other. We'll do a Diaz poll then. Does Diaz start? Let us know your thoughts by voting on that poll. Luis Diaz, that is. Yeah, I guess other was mainly Salah. Some people were going Havertz captain. Might be other players I'm forgetting. But I think Salah and Havertz probably the main two other options that weren't on that poll. Delap captain. Quick wildcard team. I'll be honest, if I was wildcarding, it would pretty much be like this. But I'd have Palmer instead of Luis Diaz. I'd have, I don't know, a 4.5 mil defender instead of Trent. And I'd have someone else instead of Mikalenko. I think other than that, it'd basically be the same. Or you go, I don't know, Wood down to a cheaper forward and just spread that money around a bit. Like instead of Semenyo, maybe Johnson or McNeil. But it'd be pretty much this team. I'd just squeeze Palmer in if I was wildcarding this week. What teams do you think are going down this season? I think Southampton go down. I think Leicester go down. I'm not sure about the third one. Depends if Everton can turn it around and like shake these injuries they keep getting. Maybe the promoted teams go straight back down, to be honest with you. Southampton, Ipswich, Leicester. But it could be Everton. Danny reckons Ipswich, Southampton and Everton. Yeah, possible. Man United going down. No chance. Ipswich will survive. That'd be amazing if they do manage to. Please, Focal, how do I order my bench? Wood, Colwell, McNeil. I would go... Wood would be last. It's just Colwell or McNeil. I think I'll go McNeil, Colwell, and then Wood. So reverse the order. West Ham looking bad. Yeah, they are. The only player I'd consider is Bowen, if you needed a midfielder around the same price as Diaz, because it's Ipswich home. I still think that's a good game for him. But yeah, I'm not really looking at West Ham assets right now. Crystal Palace going down? I can't see it. Play Lewis or Collins? Play Lewis. But just keep an eye out, Tom, for early team news. Like, if there's some news that Lewis doesn't start, then bench him. I'm going to keep refreshing in the background throughout. We've got like an hour and a half till deadline, so we're bound to get some team use nearer the deadline. So I'll keep checking. Anything we get, I'll just chuck it in the bottom left corner. I'll put Mikalenko down there because he's not been flagged on FPL. There we go. Jonas, thanks for the super chat. It says Salah and Eze for Saka and Foden from -4. From -4. I don't know about for a hit. I don't mind Salah to Saka. I'm not sure if I do the -4. It's such a close one though, because like Eze's got Liverpool, and if there's a leak, Foden starts. Would you guys do that? I do get like, if anyone had Salah, are you selling him this week for like Saka or Palmer? I can understand that move. I do get that one. I don't know about Eze to Foden -4. It's close. I don't think I would do it, but like it depends what kind of manager you are. If you're an upside chaser, then I think that's okay. If there's a leak, Foden starts. I don't think I would do it though. Eze out for a -4. I still think he's not that bad a pick, Eze. He's just been unlucky not to have done more. Jafar says, thanks for all the hard work you put in for us, brother. Best FPL YouTuber. Love from Australia. Best defender for 4.4 mil. 4.4 mil. The names that immediately came to mind is there's Guehi, 4.4. Anderson's 4.4. But it depends on like when you have to start them, because Guehi's got Liverpool. And obviously Anderson's away at City. So like if you have to start them this week, maybe 8 Nori would be the one. He's away at Brentford, which is a bit better. And then game week 8, I think you don't want to start him. Yeah, game week 8, they're home to City. But then after that, Brighton, Palace, Southampton, Fulham, Bournemouth. So yeah, it wouldn't be too bad if you started him in, what, 6 of the next 7 game weeks? But yeah, not game week 8. So yeah, I'd probably say 8 Nori off the top of my head. Mr. F says, start Dunk, Greaves or Robinson. No transfer. Who have Brighton got again? Brighton have got Tottenham home. So what was it? It was Dunk, Greaves or Robinson. Definitely not Robinson, so it's Dunk or Greaves. I'd go Dunk. I think they're all going to concede, to be honest with you. I don't think there's much between them. But I'd probably go Dunk. He's got the home fixture. Better defence. Palmer or Saka? You guys aren't going to like my answer to this one either, but if I had to pick between the two, Saka. Like, Southampton home, that's better than Palmer's fixture this week. And then Bournemouth away, that's better than Palmer's fixture. He's got Liverpool away. And then he's got Liverpool. Chelsea, I've got Newcastle, so I guess he edges it there. And then Saka's got Newcastle away. Palmer's got Man United. That's close. And then it's Arsenal v Chelsea playing each other. I'd say Saka just about edges it. If you guys had to pick one, which one would you pick? If you had gun to your head, you've got to pick one, Saka or Palmer, on a wildcard. Which one would you get? It's really close. Like, and obviously last week's output, I think, is going to be at the back of people's heads as well. It's close. 8 of his 10 returns came in 2 games, and he's absolute world class. But maybe I'm biased. Maybe like it's Arsenal bias. I think I'd just about give it to Saka. Saka, Palmer easy, Palmer, Saka. Sam's got them both. Palmer, Saka, Palmer. Pretty split on that one. Saka with the fixtures, says D Herbert. Pinner's on Saka captain today. Good luck with the Saka captaincy. Yeah, if you're not going with Haaland, or if you haven't got him, I think Saka's the one. Thanks for the super chat, Michael. Appreciate that. Steve's got both as well. Alright, so does Diaz start? 60% yes, 40% no. Do a poll, guns ahead, who'd you pick? Alright, we'll do a poll. If you had to pick one, Saka/Palmer, who would it be? Right, guesses in the chat. Who's going to be top scorer this game week? A few of you got it last week. It was Palmer that got it, but get your guesses in the chat. Who's going to be the top scorer of Game Week 7? Well done everyone that guessed Palmer last game week. Haaland, Solanke, Saka, Martinelli, Bowen. Love the Bowen shout. Chris Wood, Bowen. A few Bowen shouts here. Semenyo, Watkins. The question is, who do you think it's going to be? Not who do you want it to be? I see you, Rogers, there. Kulusevski, Rogers, Saka, Duran. Hey, maybe if he starts. Duran hat-trick. Havertz. DCL or Rogers? It's really close. I think I'd start Rogers. Really close, though. I think I would start Rogers. Havertz. Dibbling. Mate, if it's Dibbling, my true goat Anthony. No, it's not going to be Anthony, is it? Declan Rice. That is a left field shout, Rice. He's a weird one, Rice. Like, it was not in anyone's thinking last season, but he actually had a respectable season FPL wise, didn't he? He got like, I swear he got about 165 points. Toffolo. No. Thanks for the super chat again, Michael. Did you mean to include a message in that? Chuck your message in chat, Michael. I'll try and spot it. I'm guessing you meant to add a message on those super chats. Just put it in chat instead, and I'll try and spot it. Bram says he's back at work using this as a podcast. Hey, good choice. You come to the right place. I'll try and spot Michael's message. I think he meant to include a message on his super chat, but he didn't. He forgot to put it in. Mateo says, are you bringing in Foden? It's going to depend on team news. If there's no news, then I won't bring him in. But like, if hypothetically Diaz is benched and Foden starts, then I will buy Foden, yeah. It really depends on like team news this week. There's so many different paths I can go down. Like, if Diaz is benched, Foden starts, Lewis starts, I'll go Trent to Porro, Diaz to Foden. If they're all benched, if Diaz is benched, Foden benched, Lewis benched, then I'll go Diaz to Johnson and Mikalenko to Pedro Porro. Because otherwise I'll be playing Greaves. If Diaz is benched, Foden's benched, and Lewis starts, then I'm going to go Diaz to Palmer and Trent to Van den Berg. Alright, did Michael put his message? I can't see it. Michael said Captain Salah or Palmer. Ooh, that's a good one. I think you'd have to give it to Palmer, wouldn't you? Let's check what the projections say this week. Oh, it's just Haaland in front, 7.8. Saka 7.5, Palmer 7.3, Salah 6.4. So the algorithm agrees, FPL review agrees anyway on Palmer. I'd give it to Palmer as well. Yeah, interestingly, Gordon snuck in there. I mentioned him earlier. I think he's a decent shout for the next two. If you're looking for a pick for like a couple of game weeks, I think it's an awesome shout because he's playing against his old team Everton. Isak's out, so he's on penalties. Everton have got Branthwaite and Mikalenko out, so there's a lot pointing towards Gordon this week. And then they've got Brighton home after the break, and then it's a bit trickier fixtures. But yeah, I like Gordon. Hayden says Trossard or Martinelli. I really reckon Trossard. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, and I would lean towards Trossard as well. It is pretty close, but Martinelli played 90 in the Champions League, and if there's ever a game to give Sterling his first start, surely it's Southampton home. Plus Martinelli playing 90, so that's at the back of my head. It might not happen, but it's possible, isn't it? it kind of would make sense. Have you ever been recognised on holiday as FPL Focal? I actually have. It's only happened twice. One time, the first time it happened abroad was crazy. I was in Amsterdam, right, with my uni friends, and we were in like this random nightclub on the dance floor, and someone came over, stuck their hand out to shake hands, and he was like, "You FPL Focal?" And my uni mates were like, "What just happened?" I couldn't like stop smiling. I couldn't believe it. And the other time, I was on a stag do in Barcelona, and the waiter recognised me. So yeah, it doesn't happen often, but I couldn't believe it. I was in disbelief. It still never happened when I've been out with my girlfriend though. That'd be the ultimate flex. I want it to happen in front of her. But yeah, it doesn't happen that often, I'll be honest. I don't go out that often either, to be fair, nowadays. I haven't heard anything on Timber. He's apparently going to be like a late fitness test, so I couldn't tell you about Timber. What's this? I have a feeling Curtis Jones starts today. Yeah, there's rumours Szoboszlai doesn't start. We'll have to see. Martin Odegaard provides a positive update on his ankle injury. In the last week or so, I've made really good progress. I'm getting better and better by the day, and I feel it's going well. Ah, that's too long. I ain't reading all that. I'm glad it's a positive update, though. Or I'm sorry that happened. Razmaka says, Diaz to Madders/Brenham. Does Diaz start, though? There's a chance we know nearer the deadline, Raz, but right now, no idea. There's rumours of a Gakpo start. So that's possible. I like Maddison a bit more, but it just depends if that Brennan money could go towards something. Like, I'm looking at Brennan if Lewis doesn't start, because then I could go Diaz to Brennan, Mikalenko to Pedro Porro, and then I've got a back three that plays. So just have a look at your team and work it out. I'd recommend everyone does this, by the way. Like, if you've got multiple players that may or may not start, just work out different routes you'll take with your team based on what we hear. Like, if you've got Diaz and he doesn't start, what's your plan? If you've got Diaz and Lewis and they both don't start, what's your plan? Or if Diaz starts, Lewis doesn't, what's your plan? And if you work it out in advance, then at least you're saving yourself a last minute panic, right? If that makes sense. Better to work it out in advance. Ain Moore says, the best deadline stream out there, Roscoe. Appreciate that, thanks Ain. I do prepare loads of content for these. I always have like 15 tabs open, just to keep it a bit more engaging, so we can hop around stuff. Yeah, Boomo. Actually, I always forget to mention Boomo, because for me he's like a given, but like, he's probably not obvious to everyone. If you've got Diaz and not Boomo, then Diaz to Boomo just makes so much sense this week. He's home to Wolves, Man United away, Ipswich home, Fulham away, Bournemouth home. And what's he got? 5 goals in 6? Yeah. Like, that move just makes itself. Like, I keep talking about Maddison and Johnson and these guys, but it's because I keep forgetting about Boomo, because he's the more obvious one. If you haven't got Boomo, then he's the obvious one. Clean sheet odds, Mr. Oscar. Here they are for Gameweek 7. Arsenal top, 52%. Man City, 49.5%. Then it's Chelsea, then Liverpool, West Ham, Brentford, Southampton, rock bottom, 6%. Fulham, 8.5% against City. Palace, 12% against Liverpool. So surely, please, can the Arsenal defence finally come good? I bought into them for the first time last game week, and I couldn't believe they conceded twice to like 0.3 XG. Conser or Lewis? Just keep an eye out for team news. Lewis wins all day if he starts, otherwise Conser. Michael says, Boomer in for Jota and Lewis in for Robinson. 2 free transfers. Yeah, Jota to Boomer I like. Why is the likes going crazy on that? It says 1515. Is that glitching? Yeah, must be. Lewis for Robinson. Yeah, I like that as well. Again, wait for team news if you can. I probably wouldn't chance it otherwise. We'll Probably wouldn't chance it if there's no team news on Lewis. But I like that if we hear that he starts, yeah. Harry Kane triple captain. I'd probably save it for when Kane's got double game weeks later in the season. You'd it. Probably save it. I remember in the Players League last season, remember Bayer from Burnley? He still had Kane in his team in Game Week 38 last season because he like picked his team and then didn't touch it. Jota's 107k right now. He's actually doing pretty well. Is anyone beating Jota? 107k. Conor Bradley 666k. That's that insider knowledge. Look, he bought in Darwin the week before and he scored, and then he sold Darwin when he didn't start. Smalling 716k. Smalling's played FPL for years. Anthony's doing alright. Trent's just inside 1 million. Who's rock bottom? Andy Carroll. And then Henderson. Carroll's 8.1 million. McGinn's 7.5 million. To be fair, McGinn always picks himself though, so that's like your disadvantage in your FPL team. Oh, he actually hasn't got himself. He went Tielemans. In past seasons, he's always had himself set and forget, but I guess he's changed his way and finally seen the light. Link to the Players League. It's that. Oh. Or search FPL Focal in the App Store, or link below. So Chinloyd said, trying to play differentials this week. Captain Palm River Haaland. Oh, that crashed. We still alive? I'll do that again. Right, let's get that back up. Trying to play differentials this week. Captain Palmer over Haaland. Is that too risky? Rogers on the bench for Diaz, Semenyo and Bumo. I think Haaland's the best this week, but to be fair, it is close. Like we saw on those projections, Palmer's what, 0.5 behind Haaland? So for me, 0.5 is enough to go with the top player. But I mean, it could be a worse gap. I don't hate it, but for me, Palmer's the one. I mean, Haaland's the one. Rogers on the bench for Diaz, Semenyo and Bumo. Yeah, that makes sense. Just keep an eye on Diaz news, otherwise start Rogers. Igor says, will Diaz be in the starting lineup? What about Foden? I don't know at the moment. We've got just over an hour till the deadline, so I think there's a good chance we get some early team news on these players. Not guaranteed, but I think there's a good chance. In the bottom left corner, for anyone asking about Diaz, Foden, Lewis, I'll put it down there. Anything we get that's reliable. But yeah, right now, if there's nothing there, it means we don't know. The second we know something, it'll be in that bottom left corner, where it says starts and benched. Stevie Boy says, hi Oscar, if Diaz is confirmed not starting, roll the transfer and play Rogers, or use 2 free transfers. Trent and Diaz out for Palmer and the 4.5 and bench Rogers. Ooh, I'd be tempted to get Palmer in that scenario. I'd be tempted to just get ahead of the curve and get Palmer. Luckily, he didn't go up last night as well. He'll go up tonight, 100%. I think I would just do it, get ahead of the curve. I know the fixtures aren't great, but he is fixture-proof, to be fair. He scored against City. I think he scored against Arsenal. Got a hat-trick against Man United last season. So I think I'd do it. The 4.5s are tricky though, like maybe Pinnock from Brentford. I'm so tempted to go Calvert-Lewin to a 4.5 or Trent to Porro so I can take Foden for Diaz. What do you think? A wildcard last week's not keen to waste transfers. I'd only do it if Diaz is benched and then I'd consider the Porro move. I don't think I'd go DCL down. Depends on the rest of your midfield though. Like I've got Semenyo, which is why it wasn't in my thinking to sell Wood, but you might have different picks. But like when Semenyo's got Arsenal, Villa, City, I'll start Wood for Palace, Leicester, West Ham. Yeah, I'd only consider it really if Diaz is benched and Foden starts, and then you could do the Porro one. But even that could backfire. Like I don't, like Trent's top among defenders for XGI, so it's one of those. I just think it's an opportunity. If Diaz doesn't start, I think Foden's such a mad opportunity. Home to Fulham, like 5% owned. So depends on team news, but I might be buying Foden myself. Monster Riddles, thanks for becoming a member. Appreciate that. Thanks very much, Monster Riddles, for becoming an FPL Focal supporter. And Adam as well for the 9 months. He says start Colwell or Konsa. I'd start Colwell. Home to Forest out of those two. Thoughts on Havertz? Yeah, I think Havertz is an awesome pick. I just couldn't squeeze him on a wildcard. I ended up going double defence in Solanke. Didn't work out last week, but I think Havertz is an awesome pick, definitely. So 53% said Saka, 47% Palmer. So it's close if you had to pick one. Let's have a look in the background. I hope you are all enjoying the stream so far. If you are, drop it a like. Make sure you're subscribing. Right. Keep your questions coming. DCL or Rodgers? This one's really close. I think I'd start Rodgers. I'd start Rodgers just about. Epic Lol Plays says, should I do Jackson to Solanke? I think you can delay that a week. I don't think that's a pressing move. After the break, I'd look at doing that, but I don't think you need to make that move this week. You can delay that one. Oh, I forgot to put the captain poll on my channel, didn't I? Let me very quickly do that. I do one on the community tab on my channel every week as well, so let me very quickly do that. Right, Gameweek 7. So we'll go Palmer, Haaland, Saka and other. Palmer, Haaland, Saka and other. There we go. Let's do one here as well, because someone was asking for a captain poll here, so let's do one here as well. Trent Alpha-Vardiol. Nah, I don't think so. It feels a bit sideways this week. Saka, Haaland, Palmer. There you go. For whoever's asking about the captain poll, it is up. Cast your votes. Thoughts on Savio? Way too much of a minute's risk for me to consider him. Salah to Foden? I don't think I'd do that, Alan. Day 89 of calling Focal. Smexy Geezer. Sorry I missed last week, was on holiday. No worries, Will. All good. John Duran worth a punt for João Pedro. Nah, not for me. I think I'd only consider Duran if Watkins got injured. Even though he's smashing them in off the bench, it's surely not sustainable. He can't keep scoring off the bench. I would rather a striker that starts for around the same price. I'd much rather get a Calvert-Lewin or a Wood than a Duran who gets, 10, 20 minutes. I joined the stream late. Any important news I might have missed? Nothing at the moment. Mikalenko's out, but that's not really important news, I suppose. Kano, thanks for the 6 months. The half year, he says, I need help. I've got 2 free transfers, no bench, and 0.1 million in the bank. I don't know your team, Kano, so I can't help. It's impossible to help with that one. No idea without the context. If you've got no bench, then try and fix that. If you're, keep an eye on team news, Kano. I'll say that. Like, if you've got Diaz or Lewis, then spend those 2 transfers to replace those players potentially, or improve your bench and start those this week. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I've just seen your team below. Flack and Porro, Robinson, Gabriel, Lewis, Smith Rowe, Salah, Rodgers, Palmer, Diaz, Ramsdale, Pedro, Dalkovic, Jebison. Nothing in the bank, 2 transfers. So yeah, keep an eye on Lewis and Diaz news, because those are the priorities. Like, if Diaz doesn't start, you could go Diaz to someone like Johnson or Maddison. Johnson might be the one, because then you can actually improve your bench. For example, you bench Smith Rowe, Diaz to someone like Johnson or Maddison, and then upgrade João Pedro or Nedeljkovic. You know, Diaz to Johnson, suddenly you can go Nedeljkovic to Pedro Porro, and then you're fixing the problems in your team. Just work out different possible paths based on the leaks, because it really depends on that. Like, if Diaz doesn't start, then I'd sell him, and I'd use the second move to improve your bench, and then bench Smith Rowe. Manprit says best replacement for Bruno who's not Johnson. I'd say Maddison or Gordon. Gordon is better for the next 2. Maddison's the better longer term pick, if that makes sense. Because Everton have got Mikalenko and Branthwaite out. Newcastle have got Isak out, so Gordon's on pens this week, maybe in Gameweek 8 as well. But Maddison's just kind of, you can stick him in for 5 weeks. Gordon's like a shorter term pick, I would say. So it depends what fits your team better. One of those two, Manprit. Uche says, should I go Trent and Pedro Porro to Lewis and Solanke for a -4? He's got Saka, Palmer, Semenyo, Rogers, Boomer and Haaland. I don't think I'd do it for a -4. Saka, Palmer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you need to play the striker, then it's worth it. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. I guess you're saying you need to play that striker unless you've got a good defender. So yeah, it makes sense if you have to play them, because I think Pedro could be out for a while. There's rumours it's like a month or so, maybe more. I think I saw even like 6 to 8 weeks rumoured. So Diaz to Bumo or Maddison? Bumo. If you haven't got Bumo, he's the one I'd put ahead of Maddison, Johnson, Gordon, all those guys. Bumo first. Starboy McGee, thanks for the 50 months. What's your thoughts on Kulu as an FPL option? Yeah, he's kind of under the radar as well. Like, he's in good form. He's passing the eye test. I think I still prefer Maddison and Johnson though. I think they're likely to get you something, but I don't hate the Kulu pick. I'd say, yeah. I mean, Johnson's got 5 and 5 in all competitions. So, I mean, logically, you've got to go with him over Kulu, haven't you? What's your team value? 102 mil, maybe? No. Maybe not that high. Oh, 101.8, and then I've got 0.2 mil in the bank. So 1.2 mil. What's everyone's team value? Who's got the most team value? I've seen some people with like 103, 104. 101.8. 101, 100. CFJW, Robertson and Smith Rowe to Johnson Lewis -4 or 1 for free. I like Robertson to Lewis. Smith Rowe to Johnson. I wouldn't do that for a -4. Probably not for a -4. Hello friend says Flecken or Vicario in goal. I'd say Flecken. What's the clean sheet odds on that? Brentford 31.5%. Tottenham 21. So yeah, Flecken. Marcus, thanks for 26 months. Eze to Maddison / Brennan Johnson. Or Robbo / Trent to Gabriel. I don't think Robbo or Trent are sells. So I prefer the Eze one. I still don't think Eze's a bad long-term hold, but I'd rather do Eze. Eze to Maddison would be what I'd rather do there. Alright, let's have a look at the scout selection. Oh, Anfield Insight Jota starts. They got it wrong last week though, son. I'll wait till that's confirmed by extra sources. Scout selection. Let us know in chat, how many players have you got from the scout this week? They've got Kepa in goal. I don't think anyone's got him, have they? Gabriel, Kanate, Davis in defence. Palmer, Luis Diaz, Bumo, Semenyo midfield. Haaland, Havertz and Solanke up top. How many of you guys got? Someone said 108 mil. There's no way. What's the most in the entire game right now? It can't be that much. The most in the game was 103.9, so they were lying. 4, 3. Three, 5. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 this week. That's not bad. 6, 4. 4 for Melly. 7 for Justin. 1 for Johnny. David's got none. No City leaks yet. Excuse me. Yeah, Saka wasn't in there, was he? I would have had Saka if I was picking it. Let me ask a couple of Liverpool peoples about Diaz and so on. Yeah, it seems very up in the air. I asked 2 Liverpool guys and they both hadn't heard anything yet. One said he's heard rumours of a Gakpo start, but it's 50-50 because it's just rumours right now. He's not actually been given a leak or anything. And another one said he thinks that Diaz will start, but hasn't been told either way either. So we'll have to see. We've got a good hour till deadline, so let's see. Jeffrey reckons that Diaz will play. Does seem 50-50. Like, if Lewis starts, Diaz starts, I'm just going to roll. Van Heck out. Will that caddy be getting more starts? No, I don't think he'll play centre-back. It could be Igor, or maybe he'll play Webster again there. I think Caddy Oakley is going to be used in right-back or left-back, probably. Maybe in midfield, but probably not centre-back. He is versatile, though. I do need a drink of water. I've just got tea, but it's not helping my throat out. So obviously out and Jones in. Oh, that's a shame. We'll have to see. Oh, no confirmation yet, he says. Yeah. I mean, I might be keeping Diaz. He's not had anything confirmed, but it looks like it could be Jota in. It could be Jones in for Soboslai. But nothing confirmed yet. So, Captain Poll, 73% Haaland, 14% Saka, 7% Palmer, 6% other. There we go. Are you trying to get 5 free transfers, Oscar? I'd love to, but I mean, has anyone done it? Is anyone on 5 right now? I can't answer Diaz or McNeil, Sam. That's the problem. We don't know if Diaz will start. If he starts, Diaz is better if you want to just go to sleep and leave him in. But we don't know yet. You've had 4. I don't know if I'll get to 5. I'd love to, because that's like an extra wild card. You can do so much with 5, but Liberale's on 4, rolling next week to get 5. Fair play. What's your rank, Liberale? Andy Martin has probably got 5. Yeah, I've seen he's rolling. I think he's on 3, isn't he? He got 7. Fair play. Game breaker. Nothing on Diaz yet. Start Rodgers or DCL? I think I'd start Rodgers. It is really close. Like, DCL's got the home fixture. He's on pens, but Newcastle is probably a tougher game right now, isn't it? I mean, neither Man United or Newcastle have started amazingly, but I think Newcastle's probably the tougher fixture. And Rodgers, I suppose, in better form. Anything on Timber? Just a late fitness test. I think he's mentioned in the team news widget on the left, and that's all we've got at the moment. Late decision. 1 hour till deadline. Foden or Palmer? I mean, if you can get both, I'd say Palmer. Can you share Fabio Borges' team? Yeah. He's actually had a kind of slow start this season. That's Fabio's team. But he's like unbelievably patient. Like last week, like he had Bruno. He had Howard Bellis on his bench. That's unlucky. Yeah, he's 2.7 million, but he's the FPL GOAT. I mean, look at his rank history. It's just the most disgusting rank history you'll ever see. His first season, 17k. 4.6k, 1k, top 1k, top 100, top 2k, top 2k, top 500, 33k, 27k. I wonder if he'll wildcard this week or save it. Our Liverpool selections. I've lost the message. Where'd it go? I've lost the message. I think it said our Liverpool selections the same headache as City. Not as bad as City. With City, you really just don't know 100%. But like players like Salah will start every game. Trent and Robertson will. Jota and Diaz are a risk every game. Definitely. They're not nailed. So yeah, they're a risk. Thoughts on Foden? I love the Foden pick. Like if Diaz doesn't start, Foden does. It's dependent on a bit of leagues, but like say that hypothetically is what we hear. Then I'll be going Diaz to Foden, and I'll probably go Trent to Pedro Porro if Lewis starts. But yeah, it really depends on like combination of leaks this week. Annoyingly, very reliant on the leaks to dictate what I do. But if there's no news or like if they all start, I'll just leave it and roll. Rodgers over Wood. Yeah, I think it makes sense. Wood's away at Chelsea. Rodgers home to Man United. I think that makes sense. Triple captain Leif Davies. Yeah, surely. Brennan Johnson or Rodgers? I think I'd rather start Johnson between the two of them. Sell Salah or not? I think you can only make case for selling Salah if it's for Saka or Palmer. Other than that, no. How long's Mikalenko out? Apparently it's 2 to 3 weeks. So he might be back game week 8. After the break. Could be game week 9. Embed of Joel says Salah's the GOAT, don't sell him. I mean, this is it. Like, he is the FPL GOAT. He was quality in the Champions League. But you can't fit them all in. Like, if I say to you guys, you can pick 3 premiums in your team, which 3 are you getting? Which 3 premiums are you getting if you had to pick 3? I feel like most would say Saka, Palmer, Haaland. Maybe not. Tell me if I'm wrong. It's just process of elimination, isn't it? Like, Saka and Palmer are also like a 2 mil saving. Well, Saka's like 2.7 mil saving. And that goes a long way. I mentioned it in yesterday's video. That's like going a 4 mil defender up to Vardiol. If you go for Palmer or Saka over Salah. I know that you could confidently say Salah is going to outscore Saka or Palmer. So therefore that 2 mil on paper is worth it. Palmer, Haaland, Salah. Saka, Haaland, Son, if he's not injured. Yeah, this week it's a no-go, Tom, because Postecoglou said he's unlikely to play this week, Son. But like after the break, yeah. I could see that. West Ham, they got 3 home games in 4 after the break. I could see Son being the shout after the break, but yeah, not this week. Haaland, Salah, Palmer. Salah, Haaland, Palmer. Haaland, Palmer, Trent. Alright, let me just reply to his message about Diaz. I've asked if they'll know it before 11. You're not Emery on John Duran. Of course he's going to play in the starting 11 soon. He can play with Watkins because I think now the preparation to play together, keeping our same style, our demands, now I think they are ready. I was saying this yesterday, I feel like we might see Rodgers behind Watkins and Duran. Maybe not. Let me catch up on Super Chats. I think I'm a bit behind. Kano says, should I do Salah to Saka and João Pedro to Solanke? Yeah, I like that, Kano, if your other players start. So, I think you had Diaz and Lewis, didn't you? If they start, I think those moves make perfect sense. Jurgen Klopp says, Eze's been leaking points and his next two don't look great. Is he a sell and who's the best cheap replacement? Long term, I still think he's alright, but it's Liverpool this week, so I can understand switching him out. Cheap replacements, probably Brennan Johnson. Like, he scored 5 and 5. He scored in all of the last 5 games in all competitions. It's probably him. I think I'd prefer him to McNeil. McNeil's good as well. So yeah, I think selling him's okay. But I think Johnson's the only one I'd go for around that price. If you haven't got Boomer, I'd find the extra money for him easily. Laris, thanks for the super chat. I didn't see, there's no message on that. Did you put it in the chat? Or was he just... Triple Captain Haaland, he asks. I think if you're going to use it in a single game week, why not wait for Southampton home? And just hope Russell Martin's still the manager by then. Sorry to disrespect Martin and Southampton fans, but surely you just wait for Southampton home. Like, to be fair, we had the same conversation last season. I don't know if he's here, John, and he asked the same thing. And I said, I would rather wait for a double game week, but he did it anyway. And Haaland got 20 points, so what do I know? Maybe it's valid this week, but I'm not using it. I'm not thinking of using it. I'm looking at that Southampton game if I was going to use it in a single. But even then, they've got Leicester home in game week 30. And by then, we'll have an idea of the double game weeks, and we'll know what the mystery chip is. So, for me, that kind of makes sense for a single game week, because then we'll have the whole picture. Christian says, Bumo is my cap against Wolves. Bumo captain. I don't even know if he'd be in my top 5 captains, but don't get me wrong. It's a good fixture for a good player. I don't know if I'd captain Bumo, though. I mean, this week, he's up there, to be fair, in the projections. It's Haaland, Saka, Palmer, Salah, then Bumo. I would have gone Havertz over Bumo even, but there you go. I don't know. I think these 4 are ahead of him for captaincy this week. Enough to like not captain Bumo. It's not something I would personally do, but it's up to you. It's not a terrible captain by no means. Scott says bench 1 of McNeil, Rodgers and Calvert-Lewin. Bench Digne or Davies, thanks. I think I would bench Calvert-Lewin out of those. And then bench 1 of Digne or Davies. That's close as well. I think I'd bench Davies. I mean, he's away at West Ham. It's not a great defence. His underlying numbers are good. I think I'd feel much better about playing him in game week 8. I think he's home to Everton then, but not this week. Alright. Anything here? No, nothing yet. Alright, I'll keep checking in the background for news, because obviously like a lot of people want to know about Diaz. A lot of people want to know about Lewis, Foden. Nothing yet though, for those asking. The second we get something, it'll be in the bottom left corner. Are you confident you would bench him? Well, it's between Rodgers and Wood. Who would you guys bench? I think Rodgers makes slightly more sense to start, doesn't he? Robertson to Vardy or W or L? I think that's an L. It seems a bit sideways this week. I don't hate it, but it seems a bit sideways. Who's your least favourite team in the Premier League? Everything's the wrong answer except for Man United. Well, I'm an Arsenal fan, so for me it's Spurs. Who's your least favourite football team? Let us know in chat. Luke says it probably would be. It would probably be Wood bench, yes. Quick wildcard team. If I was wildcarding, it'd be something like this. .4. I don't know who I'd have as a 4.7 there. It'd basically be that, I think, but a better one there. Yeah, something like this. Something like that if I was on a wild card. I wouldn't change much, basically. And then play 3-5-2 and then bench Semenyo. Because like Semenyo, I'd love to keep him. Although he's got those 3 bad games. Like, look at the games after. Brentford, Brighton, Wolves, Spurs, Ipswich, West Ham, Man United, Palace, Fulham, Everton. That's such a nice run for a cheap mid who looks really threatening. Sorry. Maybe Johnson. Yeah, maybe you go Semenyo to Johnson. Son replacement. Saka, Palmer. Either of those. If you can afford them. Or if you can't, Foden, if he starts. Oh yeah, what do people say about the most hated team? I missed the answers there. Screw Benfica. Crystal Palace. Luton. Arsenal. The Gunners. A lot of Arsenal haters here. Dinamo Zagreb. Okay. Man United, Dover Athletics, Man United, Burnley, City, Hearts, Manure, West Ham, Liverpool. Who's the most loved team then? Norwich, Inter, easily Man City. Who's that most? Is there even a most liked team? I don't know if there is one. Real Madrid, maybe. Are they the most liked? Vignesh says best replacement for João Pedro under 6.3 mil. The 2 names that came to mind is Wood and Calvert-Lewin. But it's not a great fixture for Wood this week, but he's in a better team. I think Wood just edges it for me. They're really close. They're a proper coin toss, Wood and Calvert-Lewin, but I think I'd go Wood. Both on pens, both about the same price. I'd go for Wood, Vignesh. Otto says bench one out of Rodgers, Vardy, Carvalho and Semenyo. I think it'd have to be Carvalho. Just because I'm not completely confident in his minutes. He did start last game week, if I'm not mistaken, and got an assist, but... yeah, he got 84 minutes, 86 the week before. Probably be Carvalho out of those. Otto. I think you got to start Vardy. Wrexham. Are Wrexham the most liked? Thanks, Senor Lump. You too. What a story your comments were this week. Someone left a comment like, better story than the new Joker movie. No DS news yet, Mikkel. Celtic most disliked. Yeah, Delap's an option as well, but I'd prefer Wood and Calvert-Lewin. I think Delap's a sound pick as well, for sure. I think I'd have him third after those two, under 6 mil. Or 6 mil and around that price. I think Wood's 6.1, is he? 6.2. Glazy says, if Haaland blanks, it's over for us. Have faith, Glazy. I've got faith in Haaland. The last 4 times they met in the Premier League, there was an average of 3.25 goals per game. So it really would be very unlucky if that average continues and Haaland doesn't score. So I've got faith. Rangers most disliked. How about Raul Jimenez? He's got City away. I wouldn't want to start him. I feel like he's a couple of bad games away from Muniz getting a chance again. But yeah, he's not a bad shout. I think the fixture's a bit more mixed though, compared to Calvert-Lewin and Wood. Navadidi a good pick? Yeah, I think he's a pretty solid budget pick. 5.3 mil. Yeah. Good fixtures. Is Cunha a crazy pick? Not crazy. Like, Wolves, their fixtures are finally turning. Finally looking better after brutal opening fixtures. John says we need news from any hotel watchers out there. Yeah, I don't know if people do that for, like, Liverpool or City or anything. Or if City even do that, the same thing that Arteta does, where he makes the team stay in a hotel, even in home games the night before. I don't know if you just joined, John, but we were talking about your Haaland triple captaincy this time last year against Fulham. Maddison or Johnson? I like Maddison more, but you have to just check, Ellie, what you could do with that extra money. Like, for my team, I might do Diaz to Johnson and then Mykolenko to Pedro Porro if Lewis doesn't start, for example. So, yeah, I think this week we're going to have to just keep an eye out before we make our moves last minute, you know, in terms of team news and leaks. Because for me, it's completely dictated by what news we may or may not get. So, like, if Diaz is benched and Foden starts and Lewis starts, then I'll go Trent to Porro, Diaz to Foden. If Diaz, Foden and Lewis are all benched, then I'll go Diaz to Johnson and Mykolenko to Pedro Porro, and then bench Lewis this week. If Diaz is benched, Foden's benched and Lewis starts, then I'll go Diaz to Palmer and then Trent to Vandenberg. So, yeah, what I do with my team is like proper contingent on what news we get. So, yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? The bloody leaks. I feel for people in like time zones where it's early hours. Is anyone tuned in the early hours? Any Americans or South Americans tuned in right now? Maka says rule 1 of FPL, never back the early kickoff. That's been disproven though, in fairness. Tuned in from work, 10 PM New Zealand. Oh, that's alright. 10 PM's not too bad. 5 AM over here from Jesse. Jason says it's 5 AM in the USA. Up early today, or have you not gone to bed yet? Tuned in from Chicago, 4:18 AM. Respect for that, Ridge. 5 AM, Suabe. 5 AM in Papua New Guinea. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing about the leaks, isn't it? There's just like no solution, though. They could move the deadline to the kickoff, but then there'll still be leaks for later games. Or they can, you know, they can't move it back 24 hours before the first kickoff, because then you miss all the presses. So there's no solution. I mean, it could move it back even further, but I don't know. I don't think that's the solution either. It is what it is, isn't it? 4:18 AM. 2:18 AM for Kano. No leaks yet, Golden Boots. If we get anything, I'll chuck it in the bottom left corner of your screen. Who are the most transfer players this week? Let's have a look. Oh, of course, Palmer. 924,000 new owners. Then it's Bumo, McNeil, Jackson, Gabriel, Van der Ven, Diaz. Wow. Imagine if he's benched and 318k have just picked him up. Rogers, makes sense. Canase, Johnson, Havertz, Delap. What about the most sold? João Pedro, makes sense. Isaac, makes sense. Eze, Salah, 330,000 have sold Salah. Smith Rowe, I do get that, by the way. Like, if it's Saka or Palmer, I can understand that switch. Son, makes sense. Unlikely to play. Bruno. Saka, 239,000 have sold Saka before Southampton home. I can't believe that. That's madness. Spook says, smash a like on Focal stream for a guaranteed green arrow. There you go. Guaranteed green arrow, apparently, if you hit like on the stream. And if you hit subscribe, big green arrow. I think there's a super chat then I missed. Igor says, do you have any information now on Diaz? No, nothing concrete at the moment. I asked a couple of in the knows, and they've only had rumours themselves. They don't know 100%. They're trying to get clarification, is all they said. So yeah, nothing in terms of people I know, but we might have leaks from other people that have other contacts. I'll be keeping an eye on, I guess, like FPL Tony, Lazy FPL, maybe some other ones. But I'll be checking in the background throughout, but right now I don't know. Yash says Chiwomi and Johnson, or Cunha and Dibbling on the wildcard. That's quite close, because Dibbling actually plays, Chiwomi doesn't. I think I'd just about give it to Johnson if the rest of your bench is good. Like I don't know if I'd do it if you're messing around with like Greaves and Mikalenko on your bench, if you see what I mean, because it's just too light. On a wildcard though, if you can get a solid bench, 2 players, because your bench is going to be 2 players every week, whereas with Cunha and Dibbling it's going to be 3 players because they'll both play. I think I like Johnson slightly more though. Chin Lloyd says, should I start Calvert-Lewin over Rodgers? I haven't got a plan B for leaks. My team is Flecken, Porro, Lewis, Trent, Bumo, Palmer, Diaz, Semenyo, Calvert-Lewin, Haaland and Havertz. Benches for Bruggen, Rodgers, Aina and Fast. I think I'd start Rodgers over DCL, but it is close. But I would start him over Calvert-Lewin. In terms of leaks and what you do, well, I've got Lewis and Diaz myself, and it's hard to answer because there's so many different combinations. Like it depends if one starts, the other doesn't. If Foden starts, do you get him? Like if Diaz is benched and Lewis starts and Foden starts, then I'd go Trent to Porro, Diaz to Foden. If they're all benched, then I'd go Diaz to Johnson and maybe Fast to Pedro Porro. Oh, you've got Porro ready, sorry. You could do Diaz to Rodgers and Aina to Vardio. If Diaz and Lewis are benched, if that makes sense. Because you have to sell them both. Plus you have to bench Lewis. So it really depends on what we get, basically. I mean, I've got very similar players, so if it helps, I'll talk through what I do once we get nearer the deadline. But it really depends. Like if Diaz is benched and Foden's benched and Lewis starts, then I'm going to go Diaz to Palmer and Trent to Van den Berg. A few options to consider there. But I can't really answer right now because we don't know, if you see what I mean. I can just talk through different options. Like if they all start, just roll. Paredes says, Rodgers, Diaz, Wood, DCL, benched one. Is the Chelsea defence leaky? I'd bench Wood out of those 4. Unless, obviously, there's a Diaz leak that he doesn't start. I think Chelsea defence is actually a bit underrated. But the problem is it's one last good fixture. And then they turn. Lee Crisp says, watching the stream while using the Focal app is absolutely the way forward. All the stats at your fingertips, plus the saves, Oscar's answering the boring question. Hey, they're not boring, but I appreciate the plug for the app as well. Yeah, if anyone wants to get the app, search FPL Focal in the App Store. It's completely free. Link in the description. Or just go to your App Store on iOS, Android, search FPL Focal. There's loads on there. You can check your live rank, bonus points, fixture ticker, expected data, other stats. Alright, let's have a look. Anything yet? Not at the moment. Smith are out for McNeil or Rodgers. I think McNeil's a bit better longer term, I would say. Like Rogers has got Man United, Fulham, Bournemouth. That's not too bad. Then he's got Tottenham, Liverpool. Whereas McNeil's good for like the next, I don't know, 6, 7 game weeks, is it? 6, 7, 8. Realistically, you could start him the next 8. So I'd say McNeil if you can afford him. Fordy says decent bench for 4.8 million. He's already got Lewis. There's not many options. That's the problem. Like this week, I'd probably say Pinnock because he's got Wolves home, Man United away, not great. But he's got Ipswich home, Fulham away, Bournemouth home. So 3 out of the next 5, you'd be comfortable starting him. 4 at a push with that Fulham game. There's not many options right now. Like, there's Guehi and Anderson for 4.4 mil, but neither of them have got good fixtures this week. Excuse me. Yeah, be careful. I don't know who these guys are that's saying, you know, stuff about Diaz. I'd wait for something more reliable. Be careful with what you trust on Twitter. Pratik, thanks for the 19 months. Watkins and Foden, or Palmer and Solanke. I'd go Palmer, Solanke, Pratik between those two. It is pretty close, don't get me wrong. I think you just go Palmer, Solanke and just save yourself the headache of not owning Palmer, right? Are you still ill? I think I don't know what it is. I've got like a sore throat or something. I bought Soothers and I was meant to be eating them during the stream. I think sometimes it just messes up my voice as well, talking for like 2 hours straight. Because I normally just sit here in silence when I'm working at home, cracking on. So maybe my voice ain't used to it, I don't know. Strange one. Maybe because it's the morning. I think maybe it's the morning. It's never a problem on the evening streams, the deadline streams. Saka or Salah captain? I'd go Saka between those two. DCL or Rodgers? It's close, but Rodgers. Start Van de Ven or Robinson? Van de Ven. Havertz or Solanke? I'd say Solanke, but obviously this week Havertz is better, but long term Solanke. So I'd only go Havertz like if you're going to wildcard, I don't know, in 2 weeks' time. Otherwise Solanke wins that for me. Any plans to bring in Palmer? Asked George. It depends on leaks. Like, if Diaz is benched, and Foden's benched, and Lewis starts, then that's the only scenario. In that scenario, I'd go Diaz to Palmer and Trent to Vandenberg. But it seems pretty improbable for Diaz and Foden to be benched and Lewis starts. So I think I'll be ending up on a different path and get Palmer in Gameweek 12 for me. Yeah, says, what would your wildcard draft look like this week? We actually did one just now. This was it. Oh, I've lost it. It was Palmer in there for Diaz, and then it was a 4.5 mil in there, and then it'd be something like that. You could go for a cheaper forward. You could go Delap if you're tight for money, but it'd be pretty much that. Mikalenko I wouldn't have. I'd have someone else in there like Guehi. But obviously if Lewis is benched, then you'd need someone to play this week, and then you could go for like an 8 Nori away at Brentford, for example, something like that, and play those 3: Collins, 8 Nori, Gabriel. That's what it'd look like if I was on the wild card. So I wouldn't change much. It's just really the only player that killed me last week was Palmer. Like, a few players didn't help, like blanks from Gabriel and Ryan and that, but Semenyo on the wildcard, really? I think I would, because you play him this week, and then you've got Wood. I had Wood in the team on the bench. So when Semenyo's got Arsenal, Villa, City, you just chuck Wood in, because he's got Palace, Leicester, West Ham. I suppose you could go McNeil. Maybe that's a fair point. You could go McNeil over Semenyo for about the same price, and then switch back to Semenyo. I suppose that makes more sense. Start Hall or Winks? I think I'd take the chance on the Hall start there than Winks. Winks is just 2 points a game. Curtis Jones starts. Yeah, so I was saying that earlier. My guy said Curtis Jones starts ahead of Szoboszlai, so it looks like that is the change. The rest, I don't know. Yeah, that's all we've got so far. So, I'm guessing it's for Szoboszlai. I don't think many of you will have Szoboszlai, but FYI. It might be Jones in for Szoboszlai. Oh. I'll keep checking though, in the final half an hour. That's the only Liverpool news so far. I guess I'll chuck it in there, but don't buy Jones, but just to put it in there. This is where Jones gets like a brace or something. Ndidi or Mavididi? Mavididi. Start DCL or Rodgers? Rodgers, just about there. Salah for Bumo or Saka? Saka. McNeil won't be scoring screamers every week. No, that's true. But the point was Semenyo or McNeil, and I said you could make the case for McNeil over Semenyo, but then again, this week Semenyo's better, so I still think I'd have Semenyo over McNeil on a wildcard. And then, like I say, you just bench Semenyo for those 3 tougher games. You start Wood when he's got Palace home, Leicester away, West Ham home, and then Semenyo comes back in. Like, his underlying numbers have been really good this season. There's only a couple players that have taken more shots than him. Is Mikalenko out again? Yeah, apparently he's injured 2 to 3 weeks. Start Wood or Rodgers? Well, I've got both and I've started Rodgers. Let's check I didn't miss any super chats. I think we're all good. Perfect. Keep your questions coming. Appreciate you all being there. We've got 4,300. Good turnout today. I guess a lot of people are wondering about Diaz, Lewis especially, aren't they? Yeah, Jones starts. That's the only reliable one so far. Mikalenko out. So I've put that bottom left. I'm guessing it's Jones in for Szoboszlai, but we'll see if we get confirmation of that. Getting mixed reports on Diaz, so that's the problem. Nothing reliable yet. Andreas, thanks for the super chat. Or super sticker. Whatever that is. Appreciate it. Yeah, Curtis Jones. But nothing on Diaz or Jota yet. Or Lewis or Foden. I'm going to nip to the toilet really fast and I'll be back to hit the last half hour of the stream. Wait right there. There we go. Sorry about that. I'm taking the piss. What do you mean? Oh, yeah, I suppose I was. There's no way I'd go for a number 2 during a deadline stream. Imagine that if I like wore one of those mics that you keep clipped to you and I accidentally took it to the toilet. How fast is that? My toilet's literally next door to my bedroom. Did you wash your hands? Yeah. No way you washed your hands. Forget about the piss. Deadline stream. Oh my god, some of these messages. No, nothing on Diaz yet. We'll keep checking. I feel like there's a chance we get something, and I really hope we do, because otherwise I'll be stuck playing him. Like if we don't get anything, I think I have to roll. If we don't get any news, do I really chance selling him? I'm so glad this stream isn't stressful. They normally are. They normally are. 100% no hand washing happened. Alright, I'll do a deodorant wash with my hands. Is that a thing? There we go. I think I just invented that. Harry says, start Concert or Leaf Davies. I think I'd start Davies just because he's got so much attacking threat. Oh, why did I do that? It's sticky. I'm having a mare here. 90 plus links Africa. Lost your mind. Sorry. Alright, apologies. Back to FPL. Now I've contaminated the deodorant. Oh dear. What was that question? Concert or... Let me refresh this. I'm losing... Oh no, is it frozen? What is going on? Oh, there we go. I think we're okay. Let's wait for that to load. Yeah, so I'd start Davies over Concert, I think. Just because he's got so much attacking threat, like... He's on free kicks, he's on corners. Last game he created like 3 big chances. So I'd start Davies. It's close though. It is close because like Villa are playing home, but it's against Man United. I think both conceded, to be honest with you. Pratik says hand wash at 300k. Yeah, if we get to 300k subscribers, then I'll wash my hands. FPL Hygiene's his new name. Partey over Eze. I wouldn't be buying Partey, definitely not. He's not a good FPL asset. Best under 4.3 mil defender. I think Van der Berg could be one to take a chance on because he's been playing. He played right back last game. He played centre back before that in a back three. So there's potentially a couple of positions he can play. Certainly so far. He's 4 mil and he's got Wolves home. You could play him against Ipswich if he keeps playing. Bournemouth home. There's not many options for 4-3 though. Greaves is fine, but not great this week. You could play him against Everton or Leicester. AJ Lewis, thanks for the 9 months. Alternatives for Diaz under 8 million. I would say Johnson. He's like 6'5", I think. I like him because he's a fair bit cheaper, and you can use that money for a lot. Like I might make that move, Diaz to Johnson and Mikalenko to Pedro Porro, if Lewis doesn't start, for example, because then I can bench Lewis. It just really depends on what you can use the money for. Otherwise, I think Maddison and Gordon would be my 2. Gordon's great for the next 2 because Everton have got Braithwaite and Mikalenko out. He'll be on penalties because Isak's out, maybe in Gameweek 8 as well. Isak and Wilson might be back then. And then it's Brighton home in Gameweek 8. Maddison's better longer term, basically. Brighton, West Ham, Palace, Villa, Ipswich. So it depends. Like, if you want someone just for the next 2, Gordon's, I think, by far the best. Longer term, Maddison. If you need that money, Johnson. Who said I missed a super chat? Let me make sure I don't. Chris. Sorry, Chris. Play Smith Rowe or move João Pedro to Vardy or Delap. The thing is, if you sell João Pedro now for one of those, are you going to regret it after the break if you want to buy Wood or Calvert-Lewin then? Because after the break, I really like Wood and Calvert-Lewin. A lot more than Vardy or Delap. Like, Everton come back with a run of Ipswich, Fulham, Southampton and West Ham. Forest come back with a run of Calvert-Lewin, Crystal Palace, Leicester, West Ham and Newcastle. So I think I'd lean towards rolling. Slightly worried Smith Rowe's not guaranteed to start. Maybe someone more physical, like is it Sander Berge might be preferred, but I think I'd leave it. Sorry, Mark. I think I missed a couple there. Mark said, best replacement for Pedro for 5.7 million or less as a 1 week punt. The plan is to wildcard on Gameweek 8. I'm considering Vardy or Delap. Anyone overlooking? No, those would be the two names I'd look at as well. Leicester have got Bournemouth home. Delap's got West Ham away. It's pretty close. I think I'd just about give it to Vardy for a 1 week punt with the home fixture. No one you're overlooking. I think you've got the two nailed down there, Mark. True Mudkip says, Trent down to Vardy or Konate to fund a move. I'm currently at a party, so I might not hear the response. Good luck the game week. Hopefully you do hear the response, but I'd be having a good time at the party. Don't make drunk transfers. If you're already even drinking, then it's too late. But otherwise, wait till the deadline, then get on the beers. Trent down to Vardy or Konate to fund a move. I prefer Vardy by a mile to Konate. Not even close. But obviously you're at the party, so you might not be able to follow the leagues like the rest of us losers that are hoping like Diaz starts, Lewis, Vardy, Foden. If you can keep an eye on it, then Vardy all day. Chuka says, does Diaz start? We've not heard anything yet. I'm hoping we do. It's 20 minutes till deadline. Oh, here we go. The team's out. Gakpo starts. So it's Alisson, Trent, Konate. Let me pull up on screen for you guys. I'm pretty sure they're reliable as well. Red Mirabilia. I've got them in my list for leaks. So that's a Gakpo start. So now... So Konate, yeah, so it's Alisson, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, Gravenberch, McAllister, Jones, Salah, Gakpo, Jota. Yeah, I'm 99% sure they're reliable because I wouldn't have added them in my leaks list otherwise. But let me just skim through. Yeah, I mean, if you look at their past tweets, they've had it bang on every time. So Diaz doesn't start. Let me share that. Alright, let me update in the corner as well then. Robertson, who else was it? Jota. That fit in there? Just about. So yeah, the last ones then we're hoping for is City news. I'm just checking the background as well. Yeah, nothing on City yet. So yeah, bottom left corner, I've updated the team news there. That's what we've got so far. You can go through and check their tweets as well. They're reliable. They tweet the lineups like every game recently, and they've been bang on. Sorry, let me check super chats as well. It's hard to follow everything that's going on because I'm trying to check leaks as well. The tail end of the stream is where I can't really, like, I wouldn't recommend super chatting if you can help it because I'm trying to like follow all the leaks and just coordinate what's going on there and update it in the corner for you guys. But let me catch up. So does Diaz start? No, according to Red Memorabilia. Any changes to Gameweek 7 wildcard video team? If I was going to wildcard, this is how I had it. I can't remember exactly how I had it in the video now, but I think this is pretty much the same as that. So I'd have Semenyo, and then you bench him for Wood for 3 game weeks, and then Semenyo's back in, and then you could sell Wood, free up some money, flesh the defence up. But if Lewis doesn't start, then I'd have like someone like 8 Nori. That's the wildcard team there. Pause and rewind if you want to have a look at that. Raj, thanks for the super chat. Message retracted. Didn't see what that said. Sorry about that. Eze to Salah, Mazrui to Lewis, Watkins instead of Haaland. No, I wouldn't be selling Haaland. Is that what you're asking? I would not be selling Haaland before Fulham home, let alone the fixture run. Wildcard active, Salah or Palmer? I'd have Palmer if I was on a wildcard. I think it's worth it. You save 2 mil, and that goes a long way. Like you can go 4 mil defender to Vardio. You know, someone like how much is Trent? Yeah, you could go like Munoz to Trent. There's so many things you can do with that 2 million. Or you go, you know, 4.5 mil defender to Wood or Calvert-Lewin. So I'd go Palmer over Salah on the wildcard. Diaz on a 4.5 mil striker to McNeil and Solanke bench Rodgers. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Rodgers or McNeil. Such a coin toss, that one. I like those moves, but maybe I'd start Rodgers this week. It's such a coin toss, that one. I feel like I'd start Rodgers. Who would you start, chat? McNeil or Rodgers? Like if I said earlier, if I had Calvert-Lewin and Rodgers, I'd start Rodgers. Is Diaz benched? Yeah, it's been reported by Red Memorabilia that he's benched. And if you go into their tweets, they're reliable. So I need to work out what to do with my team now. Let me pull this up. So Diaz bench. So if Foden starts and Lewis starts, then I'll go. Like if Lewis starts, I'll do that. So it'll be Trent to Pedro Porro and Diaz to Foden. I wrote it on a little text document just to like not have to figure it out during the stream based on different possibilities. Like what if this happens, then do this. If this happens, do this. So if Foden's benched and Lewis is benched, then instead of Trent to Porro, I would do Mikalenko to Pedro Porro. No, that wasn't it. It was Johnson, I think. That was it. I'll do that. If Foden is benched and Lewis is benched. So I'm hoping we get a little bit of City news in the next 10 or so minutes. Yeah, we'll see. I think those will be the 2 moves I do if there's no news, if there's no further news. Get Phil in. But yeah, it's a risky one though. Like, imagine bringing him in, he doesn't start. And I've wasted a move selling someone that doesn't start for someone else that doesn't start. But yeah, it is triple Spurs. Raj says replacements for Eze, McNeil, Johnson or Bernardo. I like Johnson the most out of those 3, yeah. Lethal Lemon says Diaz. I'll do that one. Kano says Bumo or Trossard for Diaz. I have no Saka. Bumo all day. Bumo is like by far the best midfielder in the game, like under 7.5 million. Let me just ask about City then. Nothing yet on Man City as far as I'm aware. So what we've had so far then was Diaz doesn't start. Mikalenko's out. Jones, Salah, Trent, Robertson, Jota start for Liverpool. Gakpo starts in place of Diaz. Rewind says, please FPL Tony. Hopefully he comes through. If there's no news, then I think I'll have to do that. I'd love to, I really want to get Foden though, but it's just, does Lewis play? Because if I go like that, and then Lewis doesn't start, then I've got Greaves coming off my bench against West Ham. So I don't know if I want to risk it. Just thinking out loud. I don't think I want to risk it if there's no news on Lewis. Maybe I should. Maybe I should take the chance. But if there's no news, then I'll do the other one. I'll just get Johnson. And keep Trent. Which is not a bad thing at all against Palace. And then it'd be Mikalenko to Pedro Porro. But it really depends if we hear something. H8 says, morning, DCL or Rogers, best regards, MCFC okay. Yeah, we're talking about those two earlier. It's really close. I think I'd start Rogers over Calvert-Lewin just about. Just about. It's a bit easier for me because I've got Wood, but I think I'd start Rogers. Super Chat missed. Okay, we'll have to pause Super Chats for the last 10, if you guys don't mind, because I have to work out what to do with my team. Rinners says he's done Salah to Palmer and Pedro to Solanke for a -4. For a -4. I mean, if you have to play Pedro, it depends who your bench coverage is. I like Pedro to Solanke. From -4, that's close. It depends who your bench is if you don't play Pedro. But Pedro's out long term, so I feel like you just go for it. It just makes sense. Like, there's rumours he's out for like 6 to 8 weeks. Nothing on City yet. Do I start DCL and bench Diaz or bring in Johnson with free transfer? I think in that situation, Harry, you can leave it a week because there might be someone else you want to buy after the break for Diaz, right? There might be other options that emerge. You might find you want to buy Foden, Maddison, Johnson. I think you can afford to leave it a week. Unless you've got enough money for Foden and there's a leaky starts, but I think there's a few too many ifs there, so I think you're okay to just leave it a week. Calvert-Lewin or Wood? Coin toss as well, that one, to be fair. I'd go with Wood. I went with Wood on the wildcard, so my answer is Wood. Kano says he's not 0.1 mil, 2 free transfers. Flecko, Porro, Robinson, Gabriel Lewis, Smith Rowe, Salah, Rogers, Palmer, Diaz, Haaland, Ramsdale, João Pedro, and Dalkovic, Jebison. So you sell Diaz, it's just who do you go to with 2 free transfers? I think you can keep an eye out for Lewis news, because if Lewis doesn't start, then I'd do something like Diaz to Johnson and then the Dalkovic to... I think you can afford Pedro Porro, can you? 1.5. Yeah, I think, yeah, you can afford that just about, I think. I think I'll do something like that. But if there's no news, then I would just do... I think I'd do Diaz to Johnson, even if there's no news. Nothing on City yet. I'm still checking the background. If there's no news, then I'm going to do Porro and Johnson in. I think you risk it with Foden. It's just it's so risky though. Like, imagine I sell Diaz for Foden, and Foden doesn't start. And I think Brighton away is not bad right now when Brighton have got Van Heck out. I mean, Chelsea ripped through them last game week. I'm just going to keep refreshing now for City news, because I think that's all people care about at this point. No one cares about anything else. So we've had the Liverpool news. That lineup was Alisson, Robertson, Van Dijk, Konate, Trent, McAllister, Gravenberch, Gakpo, Jones, Salah, Jota. So no Diaz. I think I do this, and then I bench Porro, just as coverage in case Lewis doesn't play. I think that makes the most sense. I think that's what I have to do in this situation without all the info. Nothing yet. 5 minutes. I'll have to lock in my transfer in a minute, to be honest with you. Bench one out of Lewis, Eze, Rodgers. I'm playing Vardy. I'll bench Eze. Eze out of those. He's got Liverpool. Just have to hope Lewis starts. Avnish says start 2, Calvert-Lewin, Wood, Smith-Rowe. I'd start Calvert-Lewin and Wood. Bench Smith-Rowe. Nothing yet. Don't think we're going to get anything. Site lagging but working. Okay. I just think without knowing about Lewis or Foden, I can't do it. I think I have to go with these two moves. Johnson and Porro. Yeah, nothing yet from the City leaks. I just think that makes the most sense, even if I have to bench Porro. Do I bench Porro or do I bench Rodgers in that situation? That's a good question. I should think about that before I make the moves as well, if it's a last minute thing. Who do you start, Rodgers or Porro? Rodgers home to Man United, Porro away at Brighton. I think you start Rodgers still, right? Porro on the bench. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Three minutes. I'm going to have to lock in these moves in a minute. So it'll be Diaz to Johnson, Mikalenko to Porro. That'll be what I do. And Palmer will have to wait till Gameweek 12. Because I can't take the chance otherwise. I don't know if Foden's going to play. I don't know if Lewis is. They might both play, but without knowing, it's just too risky. Brennan or Maddison, thanks, Focal. I'm buying Brennan because he frees up the money for Porro. But I think Maddison's good as well if you don't need the money. Maddison's better if you don't need the money. Okay, I'm going to have to lock this in. I'm cutting it fine now. 2 minutes. Okay, let's do it. So Johnson to Porro. Yeah, I'm not going to get any leaks now, are we? Done. Made my moves. And I'm just going to refresh now in case there's anything on Lewis. Otherwise, I'll just leave Lewis in. Do I leave Lewis in? Or do I start? I think I leave Lewis in, don't I? Or Porro? I need to decide right now. I think I'll just go Porro, save it, because I don't know. I think I'll just go safe and go safe for Porro. I've saved it. Because I know Porro's going to start. I don't know if Lewis will. I might regret that. But it's done. I think that makes sense. Just for the insurance of a start. Oh, I don't know about that one. That was the last minute. Oh, it just made sense in my head. It made sense in my head because I'll just be kicking myself if I buy Lewis and then he doesn't start. I suppose there was a chance that he like doesn't come on. Anyway. That was an L. I didn't have enough time to think about it. Triple Spurs. Was that a mistake? Predictions time. Alright, we'll do the predictions. Palace v Liverpool. Guesses in the chat. Let me take it off slow mode. Get your guesses in the chat. Palace v Liverpool. First game today. What do you think the score will be there? Let me just tweet my team as well. Gameweek 7. Diaz. To Johnson. And Mikalenko. There we go. 4-0, 3-0, 3-0, 2-1. A lot of people are saying 2-1, 1-0, 2-0. Liverpool clean sheet. That was a stressful 5 AM. Arsenal v Southampton. What are we saying for this one? Arsenal v Southampton. Put the game you're guessing in the chat as well, so we know which one. (2-0) Arsenal. I think that's about right as well. I feel like it'd be a professional win, this one. Brentford v Wolves. What are we saying for this one? (2-0), 1-0, 2-all, 2-1, 2-1. That seems about right. Leicester v Bournemouth. Slow mode is off. Get your guesses in. And then we'll go raid FPL Juice straight after this. 2-all. Okay. Man City versus Fulham. Man City versus Fulham. What are we saying? We don't know who starts in this one. Does Lewis start? Does Foden start? Do they all start? (3-0) City. I mean, Haaland captains are going to be hoping it's like a 5-0 this one, aren't they? West Ham v Ipswich. Do West Ham get the 3 points home to Ipswich? (2-all), 2-1. We reckon Ipswich score. Okay, 2-1. Everton v Newcastle. Everton without Bramthwaite, without Mikalenko, but Newcastle without Isak, without Wilson. Gordon maybe up top against his old team. 1-all boring match. You reckon 1-all? You reckon it'll be a part of the bus kind of game? Newcastle struggling to break them down. Alright, we'll go with that. Aston Villa v Newcastle. Aston Villa v... Wait, what? Aston Villa v Man United, sorry. Is this one going to be the end of Ten Hag, or does he stick around regardless? Villa v Man United. 2-1. 3-1. 2-all. Okay, we'll go 2-1. Two more. Chelsea v Forest. Does Palmer Hall again? Or does Palmer blank against one of the best defences so far this season? (4-0)? Surely not. I don't think it's going to be 4-0, is it? 2-1? 2-0? 2-0. Last one, Brighton v Spurs. Brighton v Spurs, what are we saying? Last one of the game week. That'll be on Sunday. Two all. 3-2 to Spurs. We reckon it'd be a goal fest. Alright. We're going to head over to FPL Juice and go raid them. They're doing a deadline show right now. Shout out to Pete from FPL Team. If any of you used FPL Team, Pete, who's the guy that made it all, is there. So head over to that stream now. Thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for your support. Good luck this game week. I hope you'll absolutely smash it before the international break. Head over to that stream and spam Focal Raid in their chat. We're going to go raid the FPL Juice guys. That's it from me. Good luck, everyone. Focal out.